Hi, everybody. Brenden, Foland, your Government Relations Director, here again this week for another Facebook Live legislative update. I'm joined this week by our President, Joe Thomas, who will be talking a little bit later, but I wanted to give you a quick update on what happened, kind of what's going on at the legislature, what to expect going forward. We have reached that time where there's not a lot going on. Things are trickling through the process little by little, different bills. Luckily, not a lot of public K-12 bill, public education, K-12 bills related, going through the process. We're more in budget watch territory right now, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. We're waiting to see when the budget's going to drop, what the budget will look like. As always, this time of year, there's a lot of rumors going around, but it's a lot of rumor chasing, not so much a lot of facts, unfortunately. But on that note, please check your emails regularly, check your texts. We will be staying in communication with you as everything progresses, as we start to see things moving. This week, we did not see a lot of action. I think the most action we saw was all of our AEA members show up at the Capitol on Tuesday for our day of action to talk about the educators' budget. When the budget does finally get introduced and it starts moving through the process, keep your eyes open on our Facebook page. I will be doing more regular legislative updates throughout the week to keep you informed of what's in the budget, what the process looks like, what's going on down at the Capitol, so that way you stay informed and up to date on everything as it's happening. We are also keeping our communication open with legislators down at the Capitol, legislative staff, other K-12 education groups, to make sure that we know what's going on, and we will make sure to keep you updated. So you know when you're needed down at the Capitol to help put some pressure on the legislators. There are still a few bills alive in the process that I wanted to highlight for you, because all of them are related in some way or another to the budget, so they could be included in some form or fashion. So the first one is House Bill 2808. This is the bill that was the school takeover bill, the charterization or privatization of public schools, where they can shut down schools, force schools to fire superintendents, and put them under state control. That bill is stalled in the process, but there are rumors that it's being discussed as part of the budget package. Senate Bill 1211 is another one of the bills that we've heard. This is the you have to post everything in the world bill. While there is not a budgetary component to it, there are some rumors that they are going to include some type of funding for administrative aspects related to the bill and include it in the budget as policy. So they're trying to find a tricky way to get around the lawsuit and the inability to legislate in the budget package itself. And another one is Senate Bill 1159. This is the attack on teachers, on deprofessionalization of the education profession, where they'll allow anybody that has a GED and that can get a fingerprint clearance card to learn how to teach while they are teaching in front of a classroom and while they're the primary teacher of record. Those are three of the biggest bills that we've been dealing with all session. The last one is not necessarily one single bill. It's something that we've seen a lot, and that is voucher expansion. Those bills are currently tied up in the process. However, there's rumors of that being part of the budget package. Quick update on what's happening next week, though, on the topic of all of that. There are two bills. House Rules will be meeting on Monday. There will be giving permission for late introduction of a few different bills. There's going to be two that are related to school finance, K-12 funding in general, and one related to voucher expansion, ESA expansion. The Rules Committee, there's a deadline early on in session where legislators are not allowed to provide or introduce any new bills. So anytime after that deadline that new bills are introduced, they have to do it through this Rules Committee, which will give them permission, and that's what we're seeing. We're not sure 100% if this is part of the budget package itself, if it's kind of just a hint that a budget is coming, or if it's just related to some type of voucher expansion on its own with some type of bargain, if you will. And with that, I want to kick it over to Joe Thomas to talk about some of the stuff going on and its impact.
Well, thank you, Brenden, and everybody watching. You realize that you may have to watch the first part of this video a second time and break out your Cornell note-taking method to see everything that's moving very quickly. Veterans of the Arizona legislature, veteran educators have been paying attention to this for years, understand this all too well. There's silence, there's no public input, and then suddenly there's a flurry around the budget. Often they're passed in the middle of the night when people are sleeping, and we wake up to too often horrible news where they have once again underfunded our budget. So we're going to try to make sure that you all are updated as much as possible. Brenden talked about that. What we're asking you all to do is you are on one of the most well-earned summer breaks of any educators that have ever taught or worked in a school ever. You have had a series of 3 incredibly challenging years. You've watched your colleagues leave. You've seen new people come and maybe leave as well. You're staring at vacancies next door or down the hallway. You're looking to make sure that your quality colleagues are retained and that they see that the legislature honors the fact that you have stayed in these difficult conditions. Well, we're probably going to have to fight for this funding one more time. This year, they can't say that the funds aren't there. We have a $5.3 billion surplus package that we're going to be looking at. We have these bad bills getting one last gasp of oxygen to see if moving them shores up votes to pass universal vouchers. We have to rally the public. We need to raise awareness around this budget that's happening, because it would be a whole different story if I came to you today and said, well, they just passed a budget with universal voucher expansion. They didn't increase K-12 education funding very much. It was mainly growth and inflation increases, which are mandated. And it could be a done deal behind us because we missed the opportunity. What you all need to understand is we have the opportunity in front of us to once again help the legislature make the best decision possible. And you have been doing that for years, or people that were here when you weren't have been doing that for years. Arizona educators have changed the conversation about public education. We still have to fight hard to make sure that we get those resources so our students can be successful, but you all have been victorious almost every time that you've gone out there. Any setbacks we've had is because the governor or the legislature, or sadly the Supreme Court, has had to change the rules or interpretations or pass policies around different things. That's how much you're winning, is in the court of public opinion, at the ballot box. The community is standing with you. We need to raise awareness to the community now that school funding's coming through, and there's $5.3 billion. We think a sizable piece of that in ongoing funding and in one-time funding should go to our public schools to provide the safety and the stability that you need to make sure that your students are successful. So please be checking your email, be watching on social media. The legislature likes to try to get this moving so fast that we cannot reach out to them or cannot go down to the legislature. We're going to be doing that. We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to tell your story directly to legislators, whether that's face-to-face, whether that's in a public statement down at the Capitol, or that is you emailing them or tweeting them and making sure that they understand that you have real concerns about how many educators are returning to the classroom or returning to our work sites this coming year. And the legislature bears a huge responsibility in what decision your colleagues are going to make. If they see that they're valued, if they see that we're going to address the shortage of educators we have willing to drive our buses, willing to work in our cafeterias, willing to teach in these working conditions, if they're going to pass a budget that's going to address that, then we're going to say thank you. That's what they need to do. If they're going to do the standard procedure that they've done forever, which is they're going to throw just a tiny bit of dollars into education, hoping that's enough for us, and pass another massive tax cut for millionaires, we're going to be there to stop it. It works when we all act together. It works when we all take a few action items and let the legislature know that even though school is out, we are still watching, and we're going to be down there to make sure that you all pass a budget that's good for all of Arizona's kids, not just some of them. So keep listening for AEA to put out alerts. We're going to make sure that if we call you down to the legislature, it's only because things are moving quickly and we need you down there. A lot of these activities are going to be things that you all can do around social media. And if we get loud enough and we draw enough attention to it, then we will get the budget that we deserve. Absent that, then you all know exactly what this legislature and this governor is going to do. They're going to expand vouchers. They're going to pass that post online every aspect of every class you're going to teach for the entire year, and expect you to keep that updated as you go through every day of the 180-day school year with students. They're going to make your job more difficult, and they're not going to pay any respect to the fact that you have been here and you are still here, ready to work and do your part to ensure that our students in this state get a quality education. So thank you for that. And thank you for your membership in AEA and for being a public school advocate. Thank you for everyone that turned out Tuesday when we had action down at the Capitol to raise awareness around our educators' budget. That's the budget we want the legislature to pass, to where we see real investments, permanent investments in our K-12 system. It's not going to happen by accident. It's going to happen because we're going to shout loudly. We're going to speak clearly, and we're going to make sure that they hear us out here. So thank you all so much. A happy Friday, a great weekend in the summer, but make sure that you are paying attention and that you're letting your colleagues know that next week we may see a budget move very quickly, and we want to do everything we can to make sure that budget is good for our students. If you're not part of our legislative update, if you're not getting updates from us, I will make sure, whether you're a member or not, that we have someone put in the comments how you can register for that, and you'll get these emails where you can learn about what's going on down at the legislature. We can keep you better informed. With that, thank you all very much. Have a fantastic weekend. Put on that sunscreen, drink lots of water, and let's get ready to make sure that our legislature does right by us and our students. Thank you all very much. Bye.